In chemistry and in science in general, you will hear lots of different words to describe small things or collections of things, of chemicals. You will hear words like elements or molecules, particles, compounds, mixtures, atoms, and what is important is they all have their own meaning. They're not all the same thing. We can't just use any word that we like. We have to know what they mean. So I'm going to focus on three of those words just now so that we can separate what we mean by elements, what we mean by mixtures, and what we mean by compounds. So I'll start with the simplest one, which is an element. So what is an element? An element is something that you would find in the periodic table, and the periodic table is just a list of all the elements. So again, what is an element? It's just a pure substance, which means it's made of only one type of atom. So there's another word that we need to know what it means. So an atom is just a tiny building block that's used to make all of the substances in the universe, all of the elements in the universe. And if there's only one type of atom in a substance, then that substance is an element. So for example, if I was to zoom right down to an atomic scale, to go really, really tiny into an element, I would find something that probably looked in a very simple form like that. So a collection of atoms, and I've used the purple pen here to show that they're all the same. Only contains one type of atom. And in this element, they might all be smooshed together really close, really regularly like that. That would be one type of element that you could have. Or let's use a different colour. They don't all have to be packed together like that. They could be maybe spread out, maybe moving a little bit further apart as atoms. And what I'm describing here is maybe a solid and then maybe a liquid or a gas. Probably a gas because there's lots of spaces in between these atoms. But the important point is, for this element here, there's only one colour. For this element here, there's only one colour. And the one colour means one type of atom. If there's only one type of atom, it's an element. It's a pure substance. There's nothing mixed together. Which takes us to our next word, which is a mixture. So if I have a mixture, that means I have got two or more types of atoms, two or more elements, and they're jumbled up, they're mixed together. Now, importantly, they are not bonded together. They've not really reacted together. They're just sitting next to each other. So they're not chemically bonded. So what might that look like? Well, let's just take the two elements that we've used up at the top. So here is our unnamed purple element. The atoms have now been broken up and are a bit further apart. Maybe it's been melted or heated up or something. And then here is my pink element here. And it's mixed in between the particles, in between the atoms of the purple element. Now they're just mixed together, they're not bonded together. So if I wanted to, I could go through some kind of experiment to separate these atoms from each other. I could have the purple ones on one side and the pink ones on the other side quite easily. Okay, I wouldn't have to go through a chemical reaction to separate them. I would just separate them physically. So a mixture is where you have two or more elements, which means two or more types of atoms, mixed together, but they're not joined onto each other. They're not bonded. So what do we call it if they are bonded then? That is what we call a compound. So a compound is, very similarly, again, two or more elements, two or more types of atoms, but this time instead of just being mixed together, they have bonded together. So again, here is my purple element. I'll draw it the same way. There's the atoms spread out, but this time they have bonded to my pink element, my pink atoms. And I'm just showing that by drawing the little circles here closer together. So now that they are bonded, they have made something new. So thinking back to what a chemical reaction actually meant, if you make something new, if you make a new substance, a chemical reaction has happened. So you've made a new compound. It's not a mixture, because I couldn't easily separate out the purple atoms from the pink atoms without doing another chemical reaction to reverse the process that's happened. I can't just separate them apart by picking them out. They're joined together now, and that bond is usually quite strong. So compounds then, again, 2 or more atoms, 2 or more elements, and they have bonded together to make something new, to make a new substance. So to run through that again, elements are pure substances. They only have one type of atom. Mixtures can have 2 or more types of atoms. They're mixed together, but they are not chemically bonded. They are not joined together. So they can be easily separated. And compounds have 2 or more elements, and they are bonded together, and they have made something new.